We're now up to part 7 on my favorites of Next Fest 2024, the October edition. There will be one more part left after this one, but let's get to some of my favorite indie games from this night of streaming. We are starting things off with Dragon of Saiyu. This is a 2D platformer that reimagines the Journey to the West as a, Mega Man-like. It's up to you to run, jump, and try to defeat evil, and I guess you'll also get help from the Monkey King as well. Our gameplay here should be quite familiar to anyone who has played a classic Mega Man game, as you'll walk, jump, and use your kind of Mega Buster Scepter in order to defeat evil. Now, while this may look like a Mega Man style game, from when I play the demo, this one, especially on the higher difficulties, is going to give you a run for your money. Enemies take a lot of hits to kill, especially the boss, and when you start out, you really don't have a lot of different moves that you can use. I was hoping to get a charge shot or something to kind of eat through the enemy's health bar a little bit faster, but there was no such thing. Now, to compensate, this game seems to be a little bit more friendlier in terms of providing you with healing items compared to Mega Man, even during the boss fight itself. But I do like kind of the reimagining here. Level design is quite interesting, and there is a pretty good variety of enemies. We did unlock a hard mode, which, to be honest, I don't know how much harder this could actually get. I was kind of afraid to try it out. But if you're hoping for a very soulful and earnest exploration of the hit story, this is probably not that game. But if you're looking for some Mega Man action with a very different feel to its aesthetics, I would give this one a try. We now go to Empire of the Ants. This is apparently based off of a book which I have not read. This is a real-time strategy game played in third person, as up to you to lead ants to conquer the land, one area and one little ant hive at a time. Our gameplay here will revolve around you going around the area, looking for resources, and then upgrading the various little anthills in the area. Each anthill can only have so many kind of attachments and upgrades put onto it before you can't do any more. Each anthill can also supply you with kind of one legion of troops, and the game features a rock, paper, scissors formula where certain ant legions are better against certain others. And your job is to lead them around and try and conquer the enemy's territory before they stop you. It's a very novel take on the real-time strategy. I love the kind of very photorealistic look in this one. There is definitely something weird / charming about watching ants getting into giant scuffles with range ants and bruiser ants and so on. Now, one bit of an issue is that the game does feel very slow. Apparently, ants can only move at one speed, and it's certainly not going to be a fast one. And I did have kind of an issue in terms of understanding what all the various upgrades mean. Some upgrades can only be built one time, and I couldn't tell if that means it just affects one legion of ants or all the legions. And it can be a little cumbersome taking out the enemy's base, because in order to capture an anthill, you need to kill any ants that are guarding it. However, the AI could just immediately spawn another legion, which meant that I had to fight that, and then it just kept respawning and respawning, and there's not much I could have done in order to kind of get around that. The game features different modes of play, and I would say this one is a very interesting experiment on making more of a kind of gamepad-focused real-time strategy game rather than your traditional keyboard and mouse. So I would say that if you're someone looking for a different kind of RTS, give this one a try. But if you're a fan of a more macro-oriented or more kind of controlling-based one, this one may not be it for you. But still, very charming game, and I guess the only other caveat would be if you don't like bugs, then this is certainly not going to be one to check out. We switch from ants to toads, and real-time to turn-based with Toads on the Bayou. This is a kind of In the Breach meets deck builder style game. You play Toads trying to take back the swamp from the bad guys, and you must do it one turn and several cards at a time. Our focus here is that every turn you are given AP or mana to play your different cards. Each kind of hero has access to different cards, and you'll be able to acquire and change your cards using resources after each battle. The play here is going to be about completing objectives as best as you can while trying to keep your health up and keeping the enemies at bay. Like Into the Breach, every turn enemies will spawn in, and then on their following turn, they will do something. They'll try to attack you, they'll try to attack your objective, whatever. And you will need to roll with the punches in order to best plan things out. Personally, I was not a huge fan of the Into the Breach style in terms of the tactical play, where it always felt like you're kind of one step behind the enemy, and it was so easy to kind of fall behind even further. But if you are a fan of the Into the Breach kind of gameplay and looking for another original take on it, then this definitely comes with a recommendation. We now go to Super Puzzle the Cat. This is a 2D puzzle platform where you play as a cat, who is just trying to get to their ball of yarn. But standing in the way is going to be a lot of devious platforming, puzzles, and traps. Our element here is that you can set up a checkpoint quite literally anywhere in the stage. So if you mess up a jump, mess up using an item incorrectly, you can just rewind time back. Each stage will require you to use various items of different shapes and impacts onto your cat. A jetpack can send you careening up into the air. Bubblegum lets you become rubber and bounce around. And you can even combine powers at the same time to create like a bouncy jetpack or turn into a ghost and other things as well. And you will have to make use of all of them if you have any intent on seeing your way through all the different puzzles and collecting the bonus coins along the way. This is a game that it looks very cute and adorable, but our cat here has some very challenging claws as well. If I had any legitimate issue with this, is that because the game doesn't quite give you any onboarding, at least in the demo, as to what the items do or what their actual properties are, it can be a little tricky to figure out what it is you're trying to do in the level making use of these items. You pretty much have to learn while going. I don't know quite how many levels there's going to be in the finished game, but this one is definitely looking like there'll be potential for any puzzle fans who are also looking for an adorable cat to play with. And for the last game of today's video, this is Guidus Zero. This is a kind of mystery dungeon meets action roguelite. You have come to an island to investigate a strange evil force, and you must now brave it one floor and one area at a time to solve the mystery. The kind of unique hook of this game is that where a lot of mystery dungeon style games are turn-based using like a WeGo system, this is entirely real time. You will need to run, dodge, use your special attacks, and try to get in on the myriad of enemies and their different attack patterns. There is persistence in the form of upgrading your healing, unlocking new items and abilities and all that great stuff. Of course, on the runs themselves, you'll pick up artifacts and be able to boost your character in various ways. This one does have some challenge to it. Again, if you're used to this kind of game being a turn-based or a WeGo system where you have time to plan, you are going to be in for a very rude awakening, as you will need to be constantly on the move in order to survive. My only real issue that I had is that the actual dodge felt a little bit janky and stiff to use. You see, this is a game where you can only run in the cardinal directions. However, you are free to dodge diagonally. However, you can only use the D-pad on your controller, if you're using a controller, in order to move around. So trying to do diagonals with the D-pad is a very special form of pain. And you're going to need that dodging because things can get quite hellish in a few sections, especially during the boss fights when they're almost dead. Still, I really like the art of this one, and there is certainly potential for fans who like kind of like the mystery dungeon style, but looking for one with a lot more action to it. And I definitely want to give this one a check when it is released, to see kind of like where they go further with the metagame aspects. But with that, another Next Fest video comes to an end. We have one final one left in this series, and then I can finally rest for October. Thank you for watching. You'll find links to all the games down below, and let me know what some of your favorites were as well. And with that, come back for one more part, and I will see everyone in the next video. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.